Hello everybody. Um, this would be my first installment of my UFC fight predictions and or other MMA outlets. Don't really watch Bellator, but with the addition of Scott Coker, who knows what I might do. Okay, get my song going. Alright, so first off, very first prelim fight. We have Tom Kong Watson versus the newcomer Francisco Albi. Tom Watson's actually disappointed me his past couple fights. Um, I was riding high on him considering he felt like a legitimate British contender. It was just more charismatic than Michael Bisping. But for some reason, I have to go against him in this fight. Despite all the good training that he has, notable wins that he had in Bama and Cage Warriors, I just don't see it. So I'm taking Albi, probably by decision. Next up, we got Seth Basinski versus a newcomer, also Japan. I'm taking Basinski. Basinski is just taller, he has range, and he does have the ability, if he fights to his best, to put the fight to him and to either eke out a decision or to possibly stop it. So I'm going with Basinski. Next up, we have a women's fight. We have Sarah McMahon versus the newcomer Murphy. Just got to take Sarah McMahon due to the caliber of her wrestling credentials, the Olympics medal. Yeah, I just can't bet against an amateur wrestler of that caliber. I can't do it. I have to imagine she's learned from the Ronda Rousey loss, and she's going to go out there trying to prove something, and most likely put a beating on the newcomer. So I'm taking Sarah McMahon. Alright, next up, we have Jussier Formega versus the Bellator transplant, Zach Makovsky. Formega came into the UFC very high in his division, since his a relatively new addition to the weight classes. But I think he might run into a little brick wall in Zach Makovsky. Makovsky has the wrestling, he has the striking, and he has the grit and determination to continue on even though the fight's not going his way. I'm actually taking Zach Makovsky because I like the dude. Best of luck to him. Alright, so next up we have UFC vet Thiago Tavares versus Robert Peralta. I'm just going with Thiago Tavares based off the fact that he does have explosiveness. He's looked good since his return and has only been stopped by really notable competition. Short story, Thiago Tavares, who I'm taking on this one. Not really excited about it though. Alright, the heavyweight clash. Sean Jordan versus Mr. May. What do we say about Sean Jordan? We say that Sean Jordan has looked impressive in his UFC stint, but at the same time, he's also ran into some setbacks against guys that he shouldn't have lost to, in my opinion. So I'm not sure if it's a mental thing or he just can't put everything together correctly inside the octagon. But we're going to see. Because I'm going to take Sean Jordan. I do like Sean Jordan. I think he has all the physical capabilities to put everything together. It's just if Sean Jordan shows up that night and Sean Jordan's able to execute his game plan and does so with confidence, and then he wins. Alright, next up, Gray the Bully Maynard versus Fabricio Camoes. Fabricio has the amazing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu credentials. Obviously a black belt champion. This Gray Maynard, though, are you going to take Gray Maynard down? Doubtfully, Fabricio. Your striking has looked improved, but Gray Maynard does also carry one-punch knockout power. He has been on kind of a little stint of losing, kind of embarrassingly. But I've got to imagine this is the reinvention, or whatever you want to call it, of Gray Maynard. I gotta think Gray Maynard takes this fight. Most likely a decision and or knockout, but he's probably going to eke out a decision. Alright, moving on to one of my former favorite fighters that was upcoming in the UFC. Nice prospect in Tim the Barbarian Bosch versus Brad. I was on the Ultimate Fighter, Tavares. Brad Tavares has totally shown that he's capable of hanging with guys that I believe are about on the same shelf as Tim Bosch. While I like Bosch, he's been stopped in this past couple. Luke Rockhold embarrassed him. And Brad Tavares just has a way of beating these guys that he should not beat. And he's going to beat Tim Bosch too, to my disappointment. Brad Tavares will most likely beat Tim the Barbarian Bosch, therefore sending him on his exit route out of the UFC. Goodbye, Tim. It has been a pleasure watching you, buddy. Alright, co-main event. Ross, the Real Deal Pearson versus Abel Killer Trujillo. Now, while Abel Trujillo's come out of Black Zillion camp, looked impressive in his last fight with that nice KO, Ross Pearson just completely has reinvented himself. He looks like a little murderer. He's a small little murderer inside the cage. Especially after his controversial last loss, where he laid out the blueprint on how to beat that guy and was absolutely robbed. So I've got to take Ross Pearson. I just think that his streak is too hot at the moment, and there's too much momentum riding on the guy. His confidence is high. His skills look sharp. Ross Pearson takes this fight. Abel Trujillo goes back to the Black Zillions, and comes back. I mean, he's got killer instinct, but he hasn't wowed me with anything other than basic techniques thrown with ferocity and an aim to finish. Ultimately, Ross is going to beat you, Abel Trujillo, because you're not Anthony Rumble Johnson. You're not the only guy that's good at the Black Zillions. Not taking anything from Rashad. Rashad's just not Anthony Rumble Johnson. So moving on to the main event of the evening on the card, we have Ryan Darth Bader on his career resurgence path that he's on currently, versus the up-and-coming Ovince St. Preux. American top trained. I was there in Atlanta. I've met the dude. I've seen him. Not as big as you would think he is, to be honest. In his last outing against Nikita Krylov, he scored a submission that no one sees because it's amazingly easy to get out of. So I really don't chalk that up as a win for Ovince St. Preux, even though it was. I take that as a mistake on Nikita Krylov's part. Al Capone just doesn't have the jiu-jitsu knowledge that Ovince St. Preux did, especially considering he comes out of American Top Team. Pro, athletic, explosive, but striking just doesn't look as smooth as I would like it to look of an athletic build and person of his caliber. Ryan, it's been up and down in his UFC career. And he's just on a roll right now. He's putting everything together. He has insane knockout punch power. Ovince St. Preux's not going to out-wrestle him. So, and he's not going to out-grapple him, period. So Ovince is going to be in a world of shit. He can't stand with Ryan Bader. He can't take Ryan Bader down. So you're kind of stuck at that point. What's your plan C? Pull guard on him and work off your back? Yeah, it's Ryan Bader. He's a collegiate, accomplished wrestler. He's going to destroy you. So ultimately, for UFC Fight Night, Bader versus St. Preux, Ryan Bader wins the main event. Not necessarily sure if he's going to stop it, even though he has the ability, but Ryan Bader wins the match. My name is Brandon Adams. I'm going to attempt to come through with every event and a video for every event and giving my predictions, and then hopefully people listen and enjoy my opinion, and I can find a career path related to MMA because it's all that I care about. Holla at your boy.